Before we get into this video, I just have to point out this gameplay is epic. So if you're distracted by my sheer amazing Shroud-like abilities in Apex Legends, then I can understand, but try to pay attention, kiddos. Games are getting more and more politically motivated and charged. Let's say there's the whole incident with Battlefield 5, which I personally didn't understand, as actual historical scholars will say that there's very little to actually be up in arms about. But we know outrage culture works both ways, on the left, on the right, and on the center. But that's a huge example. People were upset women's were in the game. People were upset if women's weren't in the games. And those two clashed. And recently we've had a series of a lot of controversial characters becoming gay. It wasn't really specified before that they were gay, and because of that, people feel that it's shoehorning in the gay culture into our video games where it doesn't belong, and I think that's retarded. So let's go ahead and talk about some of these examples. I think the most prevalent and probably out there and related to like stuff that I do, which would be Overwatch and Soldier 76, where it turned out that he was gay, and there were a lot of people upset about this. Like, there are people raging at the monitor because Soldier 76 is gay. Look, I get it. Being outraged is fun. Being angry is fun. Making mean comments on the internet is very much fun. But if you're going to be this much of a snowflake, I don't think you can use the term snowflake anymore. So I'm gonna have to pull your card, alright? Listen, Soldier 76 is gay. Who cares? He's still a horrible low tier character that if you main him, you're probably awful at the game anyway. So it's not like people will be seeing you running around the map for very long. And then you can just pretend that he's not even there. This character isn't necessarily shoehorned in the fact that the plot never really said that he was gay beforehand, but that's because the plot was almost non-existent. The lore of Overwatch is so scattered that it's not really a set precedent that Soldier 76 was straight. There was nothing in here to suggest most of these characters' sexualities. So someone mentioning offhand that he had a boyfriend is not shoehorning in SJW culture or politicizing the game in any way. I will say this, Overwatch is definitely politicized, and that's simply because Blizzard doesn't want to offend anyone, and that's not necessarily a bad thing. You can meme, you can joke, you can take offense to it all you want, but it's not inherently in of itself bad. It's fine to want to be inclusive. Why wouldn't a company whose main goal is to make money not want to include as many people who will pay for the game as possible? I expect it. I think that that's actually how most companies should go. What I don't get is people who felt that this was such a big deal. Overwatch themselves did not make this a big deal. It was an offhanded comment about his past relationship. It wasn't really anything that was in the forefront. This doesn't change how Soldier 76 plays. This doesn't change the dynamic of the game. It doesn't change the meta. Lore is lore. It can be taken or it can be ignored. And Overwatch has such sparse lore that at this point, who knows what is actually canon and what's not? They don't even know what their story is at this point. I would guarantee it 100%. This was supposed to be a movie and they made a game because they didn't have the money for the movie. I'm pretty sure they have the money for the movie at this point. The next one, I guess, would be actually a character from Apex Legends, which I don't know if there's been a lot of hoopla about this because a lot of people don't understand or know of the lore at this point. But Gibraltar, or Gibotra, I don't know how to say his name, the Maui looking guy, he's apparently gay. And that's it. There's just an offhanded comment, just like with Soldier 76, about him riding his motorcycle with his boyfriend and getting into a crash and being saved by his father. That's it. He's still an awful character. There's nothing that changed from the knowledge of him being gay. Of course, we're talking about games at this point. Games fundamentally don't change based upon the story for the most part. However, animations, movies, etc., those do. Now, I don't know a lot about this, but apparently there's a new ship in Rwby called Bumblebee between the cat girl and the blonde. That being said, one of the things that I heard was someone was worried that this will dive into a subplot about relationships, and they complained that relationship drama is only able to be done so many ways, and it's been done every single way, and so there's no point in doing it, and so because they personally do not like it, it's no longer worth going into. He also then goes on to say shows like One Piece, where they treat every character and the crew as if they're all family and that they all care about each other equally, as being the pinnacle of it. Well, that's a nifty opinion right there, but I would have to disagree. I'm someone who enjoys romance. I know, that might be a shocker to you, but I enjoy school life, romance, all that stuff. That to me is inherently fun. I just love the added dynamic of it. And sure, there's a possibility that Rwby does not do it in a way that's unique or new, but who the hell said everything had to be unique or new? Half the shit on the internet is derivative and based upon someone else's work. This gameplay isn't my game. I'm playing a game and then I'm talking about a subject over it. I'm using other works that's been done. Parodies. Team 4-Star is using work from other creators. Most of your favorite movies are all using plots and plot devices that have been done before. But something being cliche doesn't mean that it's bad, and I've said this before. A cliche is a cliche because it's good, because it works, because people know it works, and because people find it enjoyable. So sure, could it just be mindless relationship drivel? 100% it's a possibility. Does that inherently mean that it's bad though? No. Rwby caters to a much younger audience than probably the person who was complaining about this. These kids probably have not seen as many movies or TV shows as you have, especially any that really delve into lesbian shipping. And when you stop to think about it, even within anime, as weird of a genre as that is, actual lesbian or yaoi couples are very rare. Shows that actually focus on them on more than just the fact that they're lesbians or whatever is actually very rare. Looking at the amount of animations that you can find for certain things will turn up like 30, 20, maybe if you're lucky, 40 results. Most of them very dated. Sure, being gay is widely accepted in America, in Canada, but in a lot of other places where a majority of the world lives, it's actually still pretty not okay. In Japan, it's actually not really as open as you would think. If you've ever been there, or God forbid you're military personnel being stationed there right now, I'm sure you already know this. They're fairly conservative and they don't like anything that's different. That includes homosexuality. So when you're complaining about them including this, you may want to take a step back and realize, yeah, Rwby's not an anime, but it's treated like one. It's on Crunchyroll, it's on all kinds of anime sites. I don't know how big it is in Japan, but people sure as hell want to include it in Japanese stuff. It's even in Arc Systems games, which is peak Japanese fighters. I don't think you have to see your exact persona in TV to be able to relate to a character. I think we all can sympathize with characters. We may not be able to relate to them exactly, but we can sympathize with them. That isn't to say though that it's wrong to want to be able to empathize with a character and to see your struggles portrayed on the silver or big screen. That's 100% fine. And in that case, people who always say you should make your own thing, which I agree with if you want to see it, isn't Rooster Teeth doing that? They made their own series. They're deciding what they want to do with it. They literally did the make your own thing. So if they want to have a gay character, that's fine. And now Rooster Teeth is a great example. There's plenty of those that aren't so much. There are plenty of token gay and black characters and minority characters of all shades and colors. Yes, adding a character will sometimes give you a little bit of a boost in popularity simply because you're now tapping into a market that is fiending to see themselves represented in media. It's a smart business move, especially if you can get it without angering the other side. But I think a vast majority of people who critically look at that media realize how vapid and really offensive it is to be used as a pawn and token. There's a right way to do it and there's a wrong way to do it, and then there's people who will be offended on both sides no matter what you do. And hey, honestly, if you're on that part of the spectrum, that's completely fine. If you find enjoyment by being outraged and raging on the internet about a fictional character being gay, then you do you. If these companies want to capitulate to you, that's their choice. But I think they're going to start realizing that the internet is polarizing in almost every subject, and catering to one will only guarantee that you piss off the other. So at the end of the day, it's better just to ignore everyone. I guess that's the moral of the story. But I'll leave you guys with this. It's okay to be critical of characters being introduced who happen to be gay or trans or black or whatever. But realize that them being those things aren't in of themselves bad. As long as they're done right, who really cares? If it's a game, then it really won't affect the actual mechanics of the game. And if it's a show, well, are you interested in those aspects of the show? If you are, give it a chance. If you're not, then why not just stop watching it? And if you really want to change it, let your voice be heard and vote with your dollar. People give Battlefield 5 shit for saying, if you don't like it, don't buy it. But that's exactly what you should do. Companies are companies. They're not people. You don't appeal to emotion with a company. There are so many different individuals with different identities and beliefs working there. What you appeal to is their bottom line. If you really don't support a ship in a game, if that is so important to you, if you don't enjoy a certain plot of a show, if that's really important to you, then you vote with your dollar and your view. You stop watching, you encourage other people to do the same, and you let the reason as to why you're not doing it be known. But hey, I've been Faith and Moliminous, and that's just my opinion, my correct opinion, objectively, obviously. But I'd like to hear your inferior and lesser ones, unless you're, of course, agreeing with me, and then you too are a god. Like this video if you enjoyed, support me on Patreon to give me a tip, and I'll see you guys in the next one.